we definitely need to use CDR for achieving net zero 2050. So that's the reason why we clearly state in the strategy, we reduce our emission by ourselves as much as possible, but remainings we will neutralize by the CDRs. That's the removable part.
A critical point there, you said it's 2050 net zero, but yet you're buying now. Hello and welcome to Speaking in Tons. I'm your host, Eugene Zamastsyanin. Today I'm joined by Captain Yohei Mozumi from NYK. He is a manager of Decarbonization Group. Yohei-san, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We'll start probably with a very quick question to begin with. You're the captain. You spent some time at sea. Now you are onshore, tackling probably the biggest challenge that the industry is facing right now. So maybe talk a little bit about how your time at sea shaped the way you see problems onshore.
I started my career in 2010, and 10 years I was on the sea. Mainly, I was carrying fossil fuel like LNG or crude oil. Since 2021, I started working on shore. Started my career in the ESG promotion group. E is especially important, so they spin out to Decarbonization Group, and then I also shift to Decarbonization Group. Then I'm more concentrated on what is decarbonization. Then I start to realize, the seafarer, the crew on the ship is really important to understand decarbonization, because they are the one actually control the vessel on the local. So without their understanding, we never reach our expected decarbonization.
Kind of shifting gears a little bit to the strategy, NYK strategy, which I still to this day I admire the decarbonization story. You call it our decarbonization story, obviously. NYK's decarbonization story. I think came out fall of 23.
Yeah.
And then you had the update the year following. Then you had your position paper on CDRs that came out January this year.
Yep.
So that was great, all of that.
Thank you.
But the strategy that you really work towards has three magic words, right? It's reduce, improve, and remove, right? So can you just talk through three of those?
Yeah. As you mentioned, we disclosed the NYK Decarbonization Story 2023. Then our tactic to reduce our GHG emission is two tactics. First is the maximizing energy efficiency, and second is the using alternative fuels. So first, maximizing energy efficiency. Then I will say probably after 2030 or 2035, we are actually now developing ammonia fuel vessel, alternative fuel vessel. Then we will build the ammonia carrier next year. So we will have ammonia vessel, but we roughly operate 900 vessels. Then we cannot change the vessels in one time. It takes time. We roughly estimate about 10% of our emission will remain as like residuals emission, we call. So how we can abate this residuals emission is only way is CDR. So remove. We definitely need to use CDR for achieving net zero 2050. So that's the reason why we clearly state in the strategy, we reduce our emission by ourselves as much as possible, but remainings we will neutralize by the CDRs. That's the removable part.
And I guess a critical point there, you said it's 2050 net zero, but yet you're buying now. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, once we identify the strategy, then we need removable. Why just we need to wait, once we identify removable is essential to achieve our net zero goal, we just start to exploring the CDR space with what kind of technology is there, what kind of people, what kind of partner could find out. So still, I will say, still have 25 years, but suddenly we say 2050, I need some, 1 or 2 million ton of credit. I need.
Removal.
We need to make the relationship gradually from now on. Then we could have a good position in the towarding 2040 or 2050. So that's the reason why we are doing. It's only way to neutralize residual emission is CDRs.
Definitely would be good to see more companies thinking about the same way.
If everybody start to realize need to be net zero in 2040 or 2050 or around 2050, all the shipping company will have residual emission. They cannot. None of the company will be a net zero by just changing the alternative fuels or do some way other than the CDR.
I guess a very important element is that you're a commercial shipping company. You can do a lot. But the decarbonization can be carried out by the single party, right? You have your beneficial cargo owners. So as far as I understand, there is a book and claim mechanism. And so can you talk a little bit more about why that was set up? What benefit it brings to the cargo owners, and how do you see that progressing at this point?
This mechanism, the book and claim, will help our customers' Scope 3 emission reduction. So what is happening is, we're gonna use the low carbon fuel. Then we, abate or minimize some GHG emission compared with conventional fuel, right? So the difference is we will create environmental attribute. We'll use the external system plus external verifier. We appointed class NK to verify this environmental attribute is really correct or true. If some customers really want to reduce their Scope 3 emissions, we can allocate the environmental attribute to them, like mass balance mechanism we use. Then if the customers want, we can provide the zero emission transport service as mass balance mechanism.
Right.
So actually, it's not so many companies at this moment, but I see some companies, if they are started considering about the carbon footprint, they're really active. And I was really feel like once they change the idea to carbon footprint from like Scope 1 to 3,
Right.
all the emissions related to the final product is accumulated in the the product, right? Product's carbon footprint, right? So they are starting caring about the transportation part, we need to make it zero.
Right.
So like these companies we can, not easy, but we can talk to them and they could understand they purchase our environmental attribute. So if there's more companies or more like manufacturers, they can focus on the carbon footprint, then I think our service is more like a popular. Then if the environmental attribute we can allocate or we can sell to the customer, we can get some income, then we can purchase more biofuel or alternative fuel or more like a CDR.
Grow that offering.
Yes.
Fair enough. And I think like in our line of business, obviously, we're seeing that growing number of companies who are starting to look at the product carbon footprint specifically. Like more and more companies are starting to look at that entire value chain and looking where these emissions accrue in that value chain and go after each one of them in the same fashion, actually.
Yeah, I do hope
demanding that service, not thinking about it.
When they are require that, we can provide a service. So we are pretty much ready for that. So yeah, now we are waiting the companies or customers come to approach to us.
When you talk to your colleagues in shipping companies, when they learn what you do and they kind of want to kind of understand what they can do in this space as well, what advice do you give to these people? What do you tell them to focus on? What to think about? Because you've been on this journey for several years now.
I can say if the shipping company will exploring the CDR space, what they should or what they can see more is quality and the scalability. These two keys are essential for neutralizing our residual emissions. I believe, why the shipping companies start to exploring CDR is the reason is they also want to be net zero. That's the reason why they start watching. So regarding the quality, this is not the reduction way. This is a removable way. So if our fuel is coming from underground, the CO2 captured from the air should be also in the underground, put it in the underground. And so I will more like say the permanence is the one key, how they need to choose the CDR. That's the first. Then next is scalability. As I mentioned, I will probably require 1 to 2 millions, ton of
Just NYK.
Yeah, just NYK
per year.
Yeah, per year.
Yeah,
true.
right.
So
Number.
if even the technologies is very advanced, very well, but they don't have any scalability, we cannot get the credit. Scalability is also important factor. The amount we will purchase is going to be massive. So, I think these 2 points, if the other shipping company can keep in mind that, then I think they can have good partners, I guess.
It's really hard to imagine how all the vessels that are being put on the water right now, which will be running in 25 years, and a lot of them are dual fuel capable, but a lot of them are still non-dual fuel capable. And so there will be either stranded assets or they will be running on fossil/bio, essentially carbon-intensive fuels. Is there anything else that can be done for the IMO to recognize what this challenge really is and how they should be really going about it?
As you mentioned, 2023 IMO's net zero framework was approved. We need the regulation to justify to change the fuel to the alternative or low carbon fuel. But the thing is, it will not be zero. There's no zero carbon fuel exist here now at this moment. It will not be there. So definitely, international shipping will have a residual emission. So what this regulatory body or IMO needs to think about for the future is the scheme, how we can abate this residual emission. And then the important thing is this is not the reduction method. This is a removal method. So we need to apply this to high durable CDR, such as DAX or BEX. Something like actually capture the CO2 and then put it in underground. That's I think, appropriate CDR for international shipping. Someone need to make the momentum. So this is what we are exactly doing.
Yeah. As far as I know, regulators don't like to do something in vacuum. They want to see something working already.
Yeah, exactly. They need something working. So that's the reason why we, not only NYK, but we started purchasing CDR from you guys or others. Then we show the world we are start to moving that direction. So I hope some other companies, shipping company, also come with us, then make the big momentum.
Changing a little bit, even the format. So we have this section called Cool Takes. So we have rummaged through your reports. We figured out a catchy quote, catchy piece, and we just want you to dive deeper on that one and comment on that. So specifically, the CDR position paper, 2025 January. The team wrote, CDR is a necessary element to achieve net zero CO2 and GHG emissions, both globally and nationally. What convinced you to go that way?
Now we don't have any regulation or a guidance. Only GHG protocol exists. But they didn't mention we can use the CDR for our Scope 1 emission. Eventually, we need to use the CDRs to neutralize our Scope 1 emission. So we need to show the world, what we are thinking. So in the process, we decided, okay, so if we don't clearly mention about our stance, everybody started confusing why is NYK is doing, what's the reason NYK is purchasing the CDR. But once we show the position paper, show our stance, we can declare or we can talk in a loud voice. We will use CDR to our scope one, but this is not the reduction way. This is the removable way. So eventually, all the shipping company will do the same way. So we just want to be a first penguin, to jump to the sea.
You have clearly put CDRs on the map in the decarbonization story.
Yes, correct.
In 23.
Correct.
Can you compare reception of that strategy then and then following the CDR paper published in January? How did the world react to those two things?
We didn't receive any negative reaction. It's only positive reaction we received. And when we disclosed the decarbonization story in 23, we didn't actually specify this CDR to be used to which scope or to what. Just for the neutralization, we need the CDR. For the removable, we need a CDR. But in the position paper, we clearly state we will have a residual emission, so we need to use the CDR to the scope 1 emission.
We go to the next segment then, called The Point. I'll give you 90 seconds, maybe slightly more.
Okay.
Shipping is a slower moving business, so I'll give you 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
But try to kind of articulate a key point to the shipping industry, why they need to do what you do, why they need to be the second and the third penguin, as you just kind of described there. Go.
So for the shipping, we need 2 keys to unlock the CDR demand. First is the regulation. Then second is a disclosure. This is more like our related to carbon footprint, but at this moment, there's no universal disclosure scheme. ISSB could be the one, but it's not still like a regulation. So company still doesn't identify what is their scope 1 emission, what is their scope 2. Probably they could identify scope 1 and 2, but they didn't identify scope 3 emissions. So once they have a rule to identify scope 3 emission, they start to realize scope 3, category 4, transportation, and they realize that this much of scope 3 emission or category 4 is there. Then what they're gonna think is next they need to reduce. So in that time, we can give the solution, provide a solution. If we are already achieved to the residual part, we can use CDR to minimize their scope 3 emission as well. So disclosure, regulation and disclosure, these 2 key is the one unlock the shipping industry, CDR demand of the shipping industry.
This is it for Speaking in Tons, at least for today. Captain Mozumi-san, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for
sharing your wisdom here. Thank you very much for joining us as well, and until next time.